corridor, it's a hallway, right? It's a path with parts on the left and right, buoys on the left and right that you have to stay between. And between those buoys, any crew has to start right there. And Mark, I think it looks like we're actually off to the races already.
Yes, boat 1 is underway.
And that's Island City Dragon Boat from Minocqua, Wisconsin.
And they will get a
running start indeed.
Running start indeed. They are across the start line. We are underway. Here comes boat 2 right behind them.
This is Tampa River Dragon Boat. As Mark mentioned, we have an alignment line and then a start line. So all of the boats are lining up on the far right of your screen right now towards shore, lining up next to each other. And then they take a running start. They are counted down. They start as fast as they can. They get it. They're trying to get to as high speed as physically possible. Once they start that start line, though, once they cross that, that's when their time actually starts. These boats are 15 seconds staggered apart, and we're excited to see how all these crews do. Boat 3 is passing the line right now. That's San Diego Dragon Boat team. But on your screen, that was Tampa River Dragon Boat, if I recall correctly. Coming up now is boat number 4. This is Philadelphia Dragon Boat Association, based on the Schuylkill River down in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is the Senior B women's crew. Again, Senior B being 50 and up. Now on the helm there, steering, that is Ellen Law. A very long time Team USA steerer, one of the best steers in the country, in my opinion, and the amazing woman who taught me how to steer many, many years ago. Following up behind her is boat number 5, Wasabi Paddle Club. This is the premier women's small boat division. So we are, in fact, running 2 separate races at the same time. We're running the Senior B women and the Premier women at the same time. That's purely for efficiency, right? You want to get as many boats on the water as possible, reduce the number of races and such.
And it's interesting to note both Ellen and the steersperson for Wasabi are sitting down. Most steers people stand, but both Ellen and the Wasabi steersperson are sitting down. And the last boat across the line is the DC Dragon Boat Club.
That's right, and these are the first ladies in their signature bright pink jerseys. I think I see my friend Karen Littlewood, good friend of mine over there, sitting in that boat, paddling as hard as she can. As Mark mentioned, most steers will stand, or maybe crouch, as they're steering. But of course, in a sport like paddling, where wind resistance is such an important part, and where races can be won or lost by thousandths or hundredths of a second, every tiny little bit of speed that you can gain or resistance that you can reduce, right, exactly,
avoid,
makes a difference, yeah. And so some steers like myself, again, who I learned from Ellen, that's exactly what I do too. I crouch down and get as small as possible to reduce that wind resistance and that drag.
The final positions in these races are determined on total elapsed time.
That's right.
With the 15-second stagger, they will have to calculate a boat's total elapsed time after they come across the finish. So the order that you see them finish in may not be the actual order for medal awards.
Correct, exactly. And that's one of the complicated parts of the 2K, and I think that's what makes it the most fun. You have no idea who really won. The only thing you can say is, okay, you passed a boat, that's probably pretty darn good. You've made up that 15-second stagger. Oh, you passed 2 boats, you've made up technically 30 seconds of stagger, right? But other than that, you really don't know which boat is faster than the other. You don't really know the actual rankings until the numbers are finally released and official.
The 2,000 meter is actually 4 500-meter races strung together with turns in between.
Yep.
I know my boat, we consider that first 500 the same as an all-out 500-meter race. We get through the turn. The second 500 is a hard 500, but we settle into a working rhythm. After the second turn, you're now 1,000 meters in. You're in a good rhythm. After the second turn, you're going down for another 500, good rhythm, good hard pace. Steersperson is going to be urging you on. At this point, people may be coming up on you, trying to pass you, so there's a lot that goes on to keep boats from passing you.
That's right.
And then once you come out of that third turn, it is all out 500 again. So this is a tough race. You get about 250 meters from the finish in a 2K, and you are hanging on.
Yep, that is exactly what it is. A lot of people think of the most exciting parts of these races as the turns, and arguably they are, right? That's where a lot of the fun happens. But I think it's important to remember that the in-betweens, the straightaways, are 500 meters. It's not like it's a 200 sprint or anything. You really have to do a full settle like you're doing a 500-meter race or like you're doing a long-distance OC race. It really is so important that people keep that in mind and bear that in mind as they actually do these 2K races. It's 2,000 meters. It's a lot. It's a lot. You got to prepare yourself for about 10 minutes of paddling, including the start, finish, whatever warm-up you're doing, you know. And you'll be baking in the sun prior to that because it usually takes a bit to line boats up because there are so darn many boats on the water. So this is a 6-boat race, but we will see later on today a 12-boat race and an 11-boat race as well, and I think another 12, which is very exciting. It's kind of confusing sometimes, but it's really, really fun to watch. So coming into the second turn now, that's Island City on the center of your screen, again from Minocqua, Wisconsin. They're coming into that turn nice and clean all by themselves. You can see that steer cranking just a little bit, preparing for that turn. That boat, that umpire boat that we just talked about, that's the 50-meter. Oh, and Minocqua looks like they're trying to cut inside the buoys because they've missed the corridor. Okay, they're back in. All good.
So we've got the first 4 boats through the turn. Everybody got through cleanly.
That's right. No one's passing yet, Mark. It's very interesting, I have to say.
Yeah, you're seeing the Tampa River Dragon start to close the gap on Island City Dragon, and you're seeing
Philly and San Diego.
Yeah, Philly and San Diego. Philly is starting to close the gap on San Diego. Now, it's interesting. Ellen is standing up as she prepares to pass.
She is indeed. I think I see Chip Ryan and Jill Goldberg stroking that boat, 2 amazing longtime Team USA paddlers. And here on the center of your screen, that's boat number 5, Wasabi Paddle Club. They're coming through the turn.
Very in the center of the corridor, nice and clean.
Nice and easy.
And the last boat coming in the pink jerseys is the DC Dragon Boat Club.
Now, I think drumming is such an important part of a 2K race as well. On a regular race, right, a shorter race like a 500 or a 200, obviously the drummer plays a very, very important role. But I think in 2K especially, to urge on your paddlers to actually keep paddling for 10 straight minutes, 8 straight minutes, whatever it is important. To be able to actually get them and urge them on through a turn also where you're scrubbing so much speed, or where you're passing someone and your drummer has to tell you, hey, let off, or hey, give me more, things like that. Being able to have a really communicative and clear drummer is important. Now on the center of your screen, that is in fact DC Dragon Boat Club, the first ladies crew, looking nice and strong. They're squarely into their settle now, of course, because they are, oh, what is that, 1,200?
Yeah, they're at about
1,200.
A little shy of 1,200. Down at the far end, boats are...
Excitement, Mark, look at this.
We're coming into the third turn, and we're going to have an overlap situation with 3 and 4 going into that turn.
That's right, Philly has finally caught San Diego. And of course, that umpire boat is going to call who has right of way. The rule, obviously it's up to the umpire's discretion, but the rule technically is that the front of the boat, oh, that's a nice tight turn. The front of the boat passing
the steers person.
The back of the boat, yeah, excuse me. And, oh, this is great. Okay, this is a great example. So you can see boat number 3, San Diego, has chosen to follow Ellen, follow Philadelphia through the corridor rather than take the outside line. That is an important strategic decision. They've decided to back off a little bit, go a little bit lighter, and they know they're making this strategic decision. This steerer is making this in the moment, that if she slows down just a little bit and takes that inside line, that will be faster than trying to power through the outside corridor and go all the way around, be forced to take the outside line.
Another interesting fact, on the final 500 in a 2K, the boats do not have to stay in the same lane. They can spread out a little bit across the course to find clean water and get the best power out of each individual stroke. You can see them starting to spread out a little bit as they come down that final 500.
That's right, and it's really hard to see on this screen, but the water out there, I can tell you right now, as someone who steers 2Ks all the time, is choppy as heck. Because there are so many boats on the water, we're all doing right around the same area, right? So our wakes are going all over the place. And even on a final straight like this, it is so hard to stay straight sometimes, and that's one of the reasons we deliberately spread ourselves out. Exactly, so that that last 500 can just be a slugfest. Who can get to that finish line the fastest? Again, keeping in mind that we are all racing against the clock and not technically the other boats right now. As we saw before, boat number 4, Philadelphia, has passed 3. They're now walking a little bit up on Tampa. I'm not sure if they'll be able to cover that gap in the remaining, let's say, 270 meters, but we'll see if they can.
Island City is fighting off boat 2, which is Tampa River. They're all trying to close gaps, as Matthew just said. Boat 4, Philadelphia, is trying to walk it up on boat 2, which would be a, if they can catch them, and it doesn't look like they will, would be a 30-second advantage.
That's right, and they've at least made up the 15 and arguably, oh, and here we go too, you can see. So Ellen, again in PDBA, boat number 4, she's passing on the left, again, perfectly allowable, and that's exactly what you were supposed to do. And it looks like everyone is now into their finish. Island City will in fact hold off Tampa River and not let them pass. A terrific job by these ladies. Again, these are the premier, Senior B women crews. Island City's over the line, Tampa's over the line. Ellen's popping that oar out.
So
Philly's over the line, very nice.
This is not a proper finish order. These are just the order they're crossing the line.
Correct.
It is Island City, Tampa River, Philadelphia Dragon Boat Association, San Diego Dragon Boat Team. This is just the order they're crossing the line.
San Diego's steerer was popping that oar out as well, trying to reduce that drag and that resistance. Again, that's a strategic decision by the steerer, and it's something I do as well. If I can pop that oar out, reduce that drag, and the boat goes just as straight, I'm going to do that, right? And then you just pop that oar back in when you need to adjust a little bit here and there. But if you can try to actively make that boat go any faster as a steerer, you do that, absolutely.